So I'll tell you how this keyboard came to me. I don't own it. It belongs to my friend who we play in the same band. There's multiple keyboard players in that band. He brought it to rehearsal one day, and he started messing around with the sounds, and I thought that it sounded incredible and beautiful. My friend left this keyboard in my car. We had a show. Where do we have a show? We were just in New York. We just had a show in New York, and we have rehearsal tonight, so I'm taking this keyboard back to him today. But I figured that before I did that, I would set it up in my studio and give it a little touch. Okay, I think I'll start by probably scrolling through a few presets, just see what's like there by default. So this first patch is called It's an Oberheim. It's beautiful, it's rich, it's analog. Just trying to find patches that speak to me. Yeah. Oh, I just noticed something really weird. So the pitch wheel is on the right here. And if I press it up, you'd think that the pitch would go up if you press it up. But on this one, it goes down. I don't know why anybody ever would have thought to make it that way. Same with the mod wheel. Usually you'd think that if you press the mod wheel forward, you're engaging the parameter. But in this case, you have to pull it towards you to engage the parameter. That's really weird. That's really weird. I don't know if it's better or worse, but it's certainly different. And the very fact that it's different means you have to like engage a different kind of mental wiring in order to play this keyboard, which in itself is not a good thing. So. Nice. Very Tom Sawyer. Right away, the transpose. So the first thing that I want to try to go do is just move the keyboard up an octave, and the transpose down and up buttons are, in some way, really confusing. Like, I hit. Okay, I get it. So I hit a key. I hit down. That brings it down like you'd expect it to, but then rather than hitting the up to bring it back up, I have to hit down again to bring it back up. So it's almost like the down key is on and off, and then the up key is on and off, which is kind of weird. That's fun. Kitschy pins. That was indeed kitschy. Filter. Definitely a beautiful ARP. I'm looking at the arpeggiator section right here, and I don't see any like intuitive way really to discern like what's going on. Like I would normally be hoping to see like various arpeggiator patterns and then options for amount of octaves. That's just like your basic stuff that even the Prophet has, and I don't see anything like that here. I just see arpeggiator and then it's kind of like effectively the arpeggiator is just on and off. I don't even see any option to tempo sync anything, which is like hugely limiting. There's just a rate knob. That is fun though. Okay. I'm a sucker for those nice analog like bell and electric piano sounds. Oh, that's got a... Okay, so this sound descends in pitch on the decay. So let's see if I can use my like sound manipulation knowledge to undo that. So theoretically, I should be looking for a pitch envelope that has a release that is making that pitch descend. So far, I'm just seeing a filter envelope and a volume envelope, and I don't see any other envelope that is like able to be routed anywhere. Maybe it's the LFO. Maybe if I turn, maybe if I turn off the LFO. No, it's still there. What could be making that? So right away, the fact that I even have to think about it like this is a little bit limiting. Honestly, so far, the keyboard sounds beautiful, but between a somewhat not intuitive interface, like it's your basic stuff, but like even basic stuff like trying to find whatever pitch envelope is creating that descending in pitch and not being able to, and not being able to alter the arpeggiator parameters easily and intuitively. I am definitely leaning towards saying that as far as keyboards in this category, though, I far prefer my Prophet. But let's keep giving this the benefit of a doubt. Let's keep exploring. I'm open to having my mind changed. There's one thing that this keyboard has over the Prophet, which is not a small deal. On the Prophet, the only way that you have to know what patch is what is by memorizing the 3-digit number. So I just have to know that like the pad sound that I want is patch 304 on the Prophet. There's no name for the patch. It's not like bank 1 is pads, bank 2 is bells, bank 3 is sound effects. It's really just 500 presets just sort of randomly organized with no clear way to make it not randomly organized. On the OB-X, each patch is named, and I can see that group 5 is all percussion. Now, that may seem like a small deal on another keyboard. Like, for example, on a workstation like the Yamaha Modi X, in my opinion, the presets are organized in the most ideal possible way. You can make pages and set lists and name patches however you want and put them in any order you want. And to me, that's perfect for a live setting and perfect in any setting of where you have to really just organize things optimally. This, you at least get each patch having its own name. So I can see that patch 1 in group 5 is called kick drum. Big deal. Big deal. It's at least a big deal leg up that it has over the Sequential Prophet. I like that pad. So right away, this is bringing up a feeling for me that I also feel about other analog keyboards, which is that I'm impressed at looking at the control panel and seeing just your normal synthesis components, your bread and butter LFO and your oscillators and your filters and your envelopes. It's like not that much to it, but from those basic ingredients, you can get like a very wide range of sound. At least on the preset front, I would give this an A+. And on the parameter and manipulation front, so far I'm inclined to give it a C, but I think I want to explore a little bit further. The arpeggiator settings and the pitch and mod wheel settings and the weird way in which things were clearly happening with envelopes that I didn't have like access to made me feel a little bit weird, but I do want to now switch to kind of sound design mode. I'm going to pull up an initialized patch and just see how far I can get, and I think we're going to learn a lot more by doing that. Okay, so this is an initialized patch. Kind of weird for an initialized patch, but let's see where we can get with it. First thing is obviously that release is really long, so we're going to turn that down. What kind of sound do we want to make? Well, let's try to get rid of that weird filter thing. So I'm going to turn the filter sustain all the way up so that the filter stays open rather than doing that quick open and close thing. Quick open and closed. Sustain. Gonna have the filter fade in. I like the way this is feeling so far. Pretty intuitive. This I'm less used to, the LFO. Like, I know what I'm looking at. There's the LFO rate, and then the waveform, which is, you get the options of either a sine wave, or a square wave, or a sample and hold, which is not that many options. Certainly not as many options as are on the Prophet. You'd probably want like a sine wave, and a triangle wave, and a sawtooth wave, and a square wave, in addition to sample and hold, but we just get 3 here, so that's fine. We get the rate, and then the shape, and then the destination. So we can either route our LFO to oscillator 1, oscillator 2, or the filter. So let's try each. So we're going to modulate the pitch of oscillator 1 with a sine wave. Depth. Okay. So let's just create a little vibrato. That's cool. Let's do the same thing with oscillator 2. Doesn't sound quite the same. Maybe that's because the oscillator's not actually on. Hard to tell. How do I turn the oscillator on? That's a little weird. I turned both the oscillators off, and I still hear something. So what even am I hearing? I'm not sure. But anyway, oscillator 1, sawtooth wave. Oscillator 2, sawtooth wave. And theoretically, I'm modulating oscillator 2 with the LFO, but I don't hear it, so I don't know what's up with that. Oscillator 1 certainly works. I hear that modulation. So let's turn on oscillator 1 again, and let's have it modulate the filter. Certainly hear that. So nice big knobs and buttons here, so I can like really play the modulations in that tactile sense. But I'm a little confused as to exactly how the routing works, because I was trying to modulate oscillator 2, and I mean, I could keep trying and figure it out. I'm sure I'd figure it out. But the very fact that it just like wasn't as it appeared strikes me as a little bit weird. Because it should be pretty straightforward. You turn on the LFO, you choose the waveform, you choose what is being oscillated with the LFO, you turn up the depth, you turn up the rate. It should be pretty straightforward, but it's apparently not. So, I don't know. Huh. Kind of weird that noise is just a button in the filter section rather than another oscillator, because ideally I would love to do stuff like turn oscillator 1 and 2 all the way down and just turn the noise oscillator all the way up, and then like mess with the noise. But can I even do that? I guess I could do that. Yeah. It's just usually that's in the oscillator section, but it's fine. Filter and volume envelope. Pretty straightforward. No big surprises there. Yeah, it's just your basic bread and butter components. LFO, oscillator, filter, envelopes. But I can't believe the range of sounds that you can get from just those basic components. This is somehow where I've landed on the sound that I was creating. I don't know how to exactly to get back, but that's actually one of my favorite things about sound design is tweaking, and then like you don't even know how you got to where you are. Okay, so it may be because I'm used to the Prophet, and I know that I keep comparing it to the Prophet, but I think that kind of makes sense because it's like this and the Prophet are like the two big things in a certain kind of category of synthesizers. But I gotta say, I am partial to the Prophet. Now, you can take that with a grain of salt. It probably is the case that I'm saying that at least in part because I'm used to the Prophet. But I just think that the Prophet not only has a wider range of sound manipulation parameters, like it has a whole effects section, and the way that the LFO and envelope sections are laid out, and the oscillator, and the filters, really the way that every part of the synthesizer is laid out on the Prophet is a little bit more straightforward, a little bit more intuitive, and maybe it makes a little bit more sense the way that the Prophet does it. When I'm playing the Prophet, I just feel like any way in which I want to manipulate the sound, The parameters are like right at hand with no menu diving, no confusion. And with this, there's just like certain weird things and certain things that don't make sense. So it sounds beautiful, but it is like, what, twice as expensive as the Prophet? And I like the Prophet more. That's my verdict. But I don't give this a bad grade specifically. I just like the Prophet more. So my overall verdict is that this is a beautiful synth. It sounds beautiful. The presets are beautiful. It has that big, deep analog warmth that you can only get from analog. Presets, A+. Sound design and sound manipulation, honestly, I'm going to give it a C. I just have to give it a C. There's too many like little weird, not intuitive things. I think that the way that the sound manipulation parameters are laid out and the way that they function and the way that it's routed is, I just like it on the Prophet better. That's kind of all I can say. I don't like the arpeggiator. The arpeggiator on the Prophet is just way better. You have that sort of section where you can determine whether the arpeggio goes up or down, or up and down, or a sine. And you can choose 1, 2, or 3 octaves, and you can tempo sync it. You can choose a specific BPM. Maybe you can do that on this. I don't know, but I don't see it. All I see is a rate knob, and I don't even see buttons for those other parameters, which means that even if it can do it, it's at least not like immediately at hand. And the degree to which you have to menu dive on a keyboard is kind of a big deal. Like that does kind of sandbag you for when you're on the fly and when you're in the middle of a show or when you're in the middle of a rehearsal and you have to alter what you're doing. The pitch and mod wheels, man, I just can't get over this. Like the pitch, if you press it forward the way that normally you would think pitch up, it goes down. I don't know what that's about. And if you press it backwards the way that you would normally think pitch down, it goes up. And same with the mod wheel. Maybe that's routable too, but that would be a menu diving thing. I don't even see a screen where I would dive into any menus. I'm sure that there's some deeper settings on this keyboard, but I think that it's a little bit what you see is what you get. But it is a beautiful board, and if you're looking for beautiful, rich analog presets, I recommend it. If you are looking to do sound design and you're really into sound manipulation and synthesis, I recommend another keyboard, if I'm being honest.